create this issue, bloop, 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 and I just hit bloop. Should that be okay?
No.
Well, let's wait for localhost over here. Oh, bomb route path. Whoops. That was ridiculous. Great. Let's define this error. What happened here?
They tried to redirect it.
Right. Why did it not exist?
Because you changed the roles.
Right, because I used resources like a smart person, and resource doesn't have bomb route path as a helper, right? So some just good debugging skills, right, is going to be in the issues controller, there's an undefined bomb route path. Where should I go look for this?
Issues controller.
Okay, very good. Issues controller, right? Bomb route path. What should this be now?
Issue path.
Issue path, right? Because if we look at the routes, I use resources for these. Yeah? So, God, mega bless. Mega bless. All right, so again, if I were to just create this issue, it saved to the database. I have one, but there was no data in there. Is that okay?
No.
So what we need to do is we need to prevent bad data from entering our database, right? And that is what is known as validations. There's two types of validations. There's something called client-side validations, and that is going to be literally on the client, the browser. So far, so good? So that would mean that on the client itself, the HTML that gets sent back, I would have some sort of validation, right? So like in the input, I can do something like, I think I can just add an attribute, like required. Bloop. So now if I hit create issue, blocks it. It says, hey, this must be it filled out. This is a client-side validation. This is going to be more when you learn about JavaScript, when you get into mod 3 and mod 4. But for now, what we're going to focus on is going to be the server-side validation. Server-side meaning which part of the application, the front end or the back end? Right, the back end, right? And this right here is the front end and the back end. This right here is the front end, right? So the back end must be here when it comes to the model and when it comes to the database. I kind of just gave it away, but where would I want to write these validations? In the model, the view, or the controller? In the model. So inside the model, how many of you have gotten to the validations labs? Cool. So we'll just go over it together. If I don't know how to do this, but I need to add it, like this is going to happen often to you at work, and that is like, hey, listen, I need you to add a validation to this thing. And for some of you, you don't want to feel like you want your boss to think that you don't know anything. So you're like, Roger, boss, got it, airborne. And then you turn around and you're like, I don't know how to do this, right? So you ask your good friend, right? Old Jugal. And you're like, okay, cool, great. Thanks. And that's okay. So you can either ask your boss like, hey, look, listen, I'm going to look into validations and stuff. After I dig into it, if I can't make it work, I'll check back with you in 4 hours or something like that. Give yourself a good amount of time to kind of look into it. And that would be the right answer, right? So why use validations? This is a long paragraph. Basically, you don't want bad data in your database. You don't want to create things that don't make sense. So for example, we have a perfect example here where we have an app that talks about teenagers. Do I want the age of a teenager to be 25, 90, 1,000, -4? We probably want to, thank you. We probably want a validation on that, so it must be between the ages of 13 and 19.
Is that a range?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You're correct.
I'm sorry, rhetorical.
I ask a lot of dumb questions. Some of them are rhetorical, and it's hard to figure it out. So just continue to shout. I will. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Roger that. So, how can we do them, right? What we can do is When does validations happen, right? Skipping validations. Something called valid and invalid. Let's take a look at this. You can actually see if something is valid, if it will pass all your validations. Might be interesting, might be good to know. Cool, validation helpers, right? Boom. All right, let's see. Acceptance validates. There looks like just some sort of code here. This looks like the model. So I can probably validate an attribute with some sort of validation method. So, I can probably do something like in this person, do I have an email confirmation? That must exist. There's like a presence true. So let's do that. Let's try in this issue. Let's just rip this code like all good developers, right? Bloop, 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 bloop. All right, what attributes do we want to make sure has to be there? I also forgot, so we'll just take a look at this, issue.new. That's right, so we have severity, teen ID, and description. So description, that must be there, presence true. Cool, there's a way to combine these, but for right now I'm gonna break them up so you can kind of see all of them. Bloop, bloop. We probably want what? Severity. And then we want what? Teen ID. This means that all of these attributes must exist. Otherwise, it won't try to save. So let's try it. Ready? A little reload action. Bloop. Oh, just kidding. Bloop. Okay. There we go. So if I now try to create an issue with no attributes, it does this. Rollback. It fails to save. That's weird. Let me just try to store this little I action. And now I have access to I. I'll just roll with it. And so here I can see what went wrong. Active record will allow me, right, to see, hey, is this valid? Can I save this? No. Negative Batman. Active record even gives me something called .errors. So I can see, it says there's something called messages, and it can't be blank, can't be blank, can't be blank. Cool. I can check those errors, and it looks a little sketch there. I can ask for its full messages, which will take all of the error messages and put them into an array. Wow. Powerful. Dank. Right? Those dank validations. So I can even check just to make sure it's not something like an active record collection proxy or anything. I can see, oh, just a regular old array. Likes that. Plus plus. So if it fails to save, I can always dig in to find out why it didn't save. Right? Who feels comfortable with that? Checking why it didn't save and getting like the full messages. Yeah? Awesome. So cool. We'll just leave that up. So that's basically how to do a validation. Are there any questions on the regular validations that was built into Rails from active record? There's other things that you can do. So for example, right? Let's just say I wanted to work with numbers, some sort of number validation. Confirmation, exclusion, length. Wow. Wow. Let me check that out. Cool. Great. Let's see. These are built in, obviously, because they're not like custom. So I can see that I can validate the number of games played with the numericality passing in this like object, this hash. The key value is only integer true. However, besides only integer, which is this helper, numericality, will also accept the following options. Something like greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So let's try it. So I'm going to validate numericality. Boop, 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 boop. And should I put that in issue or?
Severity.
Yeah, actually we can do severity. We can do that. Bloop. Severity. Cool. Numericality. What I want this to be is it must be greater than or equal to. So not only integer, bloop. It must be greater than or equal to, I don't know, huh? 13? Sure, whatever. I mean, whatever.
Oh, no, sorry. I was thinking 0.
Oh, age.
Let's just put 13. Let's just put 13 for fun. Cool? So that means that, I have to reload this bad boy. If I try to create an issue, all right, so let's actually do that. What is the description? 8? A lamouth, right? And then you have severity. If I were to try to put 9, which we know is not greater than or equal to 13, this should in fact fail. If I put my teen ID and I were to do something like 1, whatever, rollback. How can I check those errors? I can do like the issue, right? So issue dot, all right, dot full messages, because that looks just kind of hard to read. Wow, severity must be greater than or equal to 18. Powerful. Plus plus. Who is a little bit more comfortable implementing these like built-in sort of like Rails validations on the server side? Feel better? Good? Can you do this? Yeah, right? It's just about reading the docs. Now let's try a custom validation. Cool? So where can I possibly find custom validations? I don't know, let me just scroll all the way up to validations and just see that under chapters, I can go and command find custom validations. Wow. Documentation. Did I give it away? All right, custom methods, right? That's what we're talking about. Cool. I can build inside the model a custom validation. So it's just named whatever I want, and then I can talk about if the attribute, and then something about it, the condition. So let's do that. So notice this says validate, and not validates. Right? I'll zoom in. So there's a difference here. Cool? Validate, and I'm going to validate with, okay, cool, a method name, right? What do you guys want to like validate?
Can we like put it between two?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, if you want, let's do that then, right? Let's go to the teen. Let's go to teen instead, right? Teen model. Sorry, it goes model teen, right? Okay. Validate, right? All right. Okay. Must be teen. Cool? That's just what I'm going to call it. Must be teen. And I have to define must be teen. Wow. Any questions so far? Didn't think so because that would have been weird. So must be teen, right? Easy. If, right, what do we have as an attribute here? Self.age is, if it's less than 12, and self.age is greater than 19, we should do something. Cool? And what should we do? Errors.add. I can't imagine what that does because it's obviously too confusing. So let me explain what this does. It adds an error. Just take 2 seconds to wrap your head around that. It's a little tricky. I'm like really snarky. I'm sorry. I'm like pretty nice if you ask me one-on-one, but in lecture I just like being snarky. Cool. Can't be in the past. All right. Gots to be a teen. Yeah, I'm saying. All right. Cool. Great. What? I see what's going on here. Okay. How about must be 13 to 19? All right. I mean, that's normal, right? Just it's kids and parties all over again. Reload. Great. Teen. Let's create a teen object for this example. I'm like dancing around you guys here. Teen.new, right? What are the attributes again? Okay. Oh, I didn't end the if statement. Interesting. Cool. You guys see that? This if didn't end. Embarrassing. A little reload. And then now we need teen.new. Cool. So I can do teen.create with a name. Do I need a name?
Not yet.
No, because do I have validation for it? Trash. But let's put a name in anyway, right? It's chef. Oh man, what is it? Your boy. It's like LaCroix. It's your boy. Okay, it's your boy. Very good.
How do you pronounce LaCroix?
Okay, pronoun. Pronoun is going to be boy. And the age, let's try 12. Okay, let's get it dangerously close. Okay, great. Okay, looks like my validation's bad. If the age is
You didn't do it true after validate, right?
Because your validation only from
no, if the age is actually, you know what? Hold on. All right, so it needs to be greater than 12, right?
Yeah, you need to do.
All right, let's just. All right, cool. Whoops, that's not gonna work. All right, let's try this. Ready? Okay. I think I had it right, but I had the other one wrong. Let's try.
Do less than 13 and greater than 19.
Man, I'm making a lot of these your boys over here. If the age.
You had a.
No, you have to do 13.
Oh. Okay. All right, we'll figure this out. This is where the Boolean logic gets tricky. Oh. Plus plus. Thank you. So. Let's check those errors. Cool? So I can attach right on it the errors, specifically the full messages, and I should see age must be 13 to 19. I wonder where that came from. Cool. Is everyone comfortable with these like custom validations?
Yes.
It becomes tricky when you do like Boolean logic because it has to be true for it to be wrong. And that is like where it gets tricky. But the idea here, does everyone understand the concept and can you recreate this? You'll probably flip the Boolean a couple times, but who feels comfortable creating a custom validation with a custom error message? Great, so we have built-in and then we have custom, right? Now the biggest thing is, how do I get these errors onto the page? So let's check it out. Yes. So where would you want to put this in the view? Which view? Do you want to put it in the index? Do you want to put it in the show? Do you want to put it in the new form? Like where would the error messages make the most sense? In the new, right? So let's check out that new view. All right. Man, I named it eat. Right. Oh. That's going to bite me in the butt. All right. So what I want to do is something like display the errors here. All right. Do I have access to the errors right now in this view? No. I want something like errors, right, in here. Where can I get that? The controller. So inside the new or the create or the show or what? Where would it go?
New.
Who thinks it's in the new? Okay. Let's think about that logic. Have I attempted to save in the database?
No.
Where does that happen? So here, what I can do is if the issue, remember this? If it's valid, what should I do? Else, I need to do what? I need to do something like All right, get those error messages. And how do I do that? Right? Any questions on this, on just getting the error messages? Cool. Do I have access to this in the view now?
No.
No, so I can do. Wow! So, I have the errors. And now I need to display what page? The form again, right? The new page. So can I just render here? New.
Redirect. Oh, you can.
Here is the big tricky part. And if you pick up nothing else, this is very important in the lecture. Well, if I render new, there's a difference between render and redirect, and I want to go over it. I'm going to go over it very slowly so you understand. Please ask questions because this is pretty important. If I render new, render will simply take the HTML and send that as the response. That means that from here, it's going to take the HTML and just give it back to the user. If we look over at this new,
Issue form.
I have what instance variables in here?
Issue.
Do I have issue and teen here? No. Where is issue and teen? Based on Ruby scope, this is a method, and this is a method. Do I have access to issue and teen right here in the else block?
No.
Absolutely not. Therefore, if it hits the else block and it attempts to render new, it will go here, literally rendering, I'm sorry, it's going to bite me in the butt. This is not going to render new. Issue for yeet. All right. It's going to come here, and it's going to see form for at issue. The first thing it's going to say is form for cannot be what? The first argument of form for what? Cannot be nil. Why would issue be nil if, actually this is probably better. Let me do this. Okay. Is that better? Okay. So, in here, if I render and I do not have access to at issue or at teens right here, why would this be nil? Correct. In the render, I just said it. There is no at issue here. So form 4 will get nothing. So let's take a look. I'm simply going to go to new, and it's going to be just fine. Okay, just kidding. I didn't end the else. Oh, you're right. Cool. So this works just fine. However, if I try to create the issue, as it is now, blank, will it pass this valid? No, it will fail because of all my validations. So it must hit this else block. I create the instance variable errors, and then it renders. It's just taking a little bit. It's fine. Cool. First argument form 4 cannot be nil or empty. Who here does not understand how that came to be? Better question. Who here understands why I got this error? Cool. How can we fix it? We can do this. Bloop. We can do this if we wanted to. Right? So let's try that. what we should do is, if I hit create issue, it will fail. And look, it's fine. One more time. Because those instance variables now exist inside the render. So now what we need is to actually display the errors. So inside here, I can simply do at errors.each do with the error, and do what? And probably make a little like p tag and simply interpolate the Ruby, the error. Remember, errors here is going to be an array, as we discussed. So I'm going to iterate through the array, and I'm going to display the error. What happens when I refresh the page? On refresh, I hit this, right? I make a brand new GET request to /issues/new, and then what happens? I render from here. Does @errors exist here? So on refresh, what should I get? @errors will break. No. I did not end it? Oh, embarrassing. Thought I did.
You got really close.
Almost there. Almost. Cool. So @errors will break because it's the brand new request, and @errors doesn't exist here. So there's a way to solve that. It is what is known as nil wrapping, and that means I'm simply going to check to see if @errors exists, then display errors. Otherwise, do nothing. Right? This protects me. So you could do something like .like exists or something like that. But remember, this is a Boolean. It's just going to check to see if it's true or false. Nil will evaluate to false. So this will run. And an array of errors will evaluate to true. It's truthy. So now I will get this. And now if I create the issue and I hit the else statement, I will see the errors. That was a lot to take in just now. What are your questions about render, the instance variables, and nil wrapping? Or is it just taking a little bit to sink in? Yeah.
So at the end, when we spit out the error, do we want to render or do we not?
I'm going to go over that here in a second. Cool. So is everyone comfortable with if @errors and then going through the array of errors that are coming from these full messages? Who feels comfortable with that? Okay, great.
Can we look at the model really quick?
The what?
Where you made the function with errors, the model with, what was it, T?
You want to look at the teen model? The issue or the teen model?
The error is coming from issues. So.
Yeah, it's coming from issues.
Yeah, right.
So you want to see it? That's why I have, it's not a number because I like basically left it blank. It can't be blank. Right? If I left severity as like 4 and I tried, I should get a different error. Yeah? All right. So here's the, say again?
Battery's dying.
Yeah.
Risk it. So I should be done soon. If I should be done by 3. So let's check this out. There is something I want to introduce you to, and that is this. What we want to do is instead of rendering, we want to redirect to the new path, and that is the what? New issue path. That's coming from where? The resources. It's helping you build this, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. If I redirect, do I have access to the errors anymore? No. Meaning, do I even need this over here? No, I'm going to redirect, and then it's going to show me this. So if I refresh, okay, sorry, I'm just kidding. Slash new. If I hit create issue, it's going to redirect, and then it's going to work. But where are my error messages? The weird part is this. Here's the difference between render and redirect, and I want to show you painfully what the difference is. So I'm going to, dang it, I forgot how to do that. Like the top left corner. All right, let's do this. Cool. Let's do this, and let's bring up the code. Bloop. We're gonna do this. Is that all right? Okay. Cool. So, can you guys still read that or no? Is it all right in the back? All right. So, check it out. Let me get rid of all this like extra spaces here. Boop, 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 boop. I'm just gonna put them like real tight to each other, so you can kind of see. All right, so you see both new and the create action. Cool. So something that's really important is you have to understand what is going on in this cycle. Redirect is a brand new request. So if I were to hit create issue, look at the logs. I do a post to slash issues. Why do I get the post to slash issues? Because I submitted the form, which will post to slash issues. That makes sense. Now, the route will tell me to go to the issues controller. And here are the params that come across. It tries to save, right? It tries to save. It realizes it's bad. It rolls back, and it is not valid. So it must hit the else. So far, so good. I establish this instance variable, which is an array, and then I redirect. So let's take a look. I redirect to issues new. That makes sense because that's exactly what I'm telling it to do. And then it does a 300, which is a redirect status. I start a brand new GET request to issues new, which puts me right here. Yes? Do I have @errors here?
No.
That's why they don't display. Are there any questions why they currently don't display? So what we want to do, the problem we're trying to solve, is we want to hold data to kind of push it to like the next request. Right? We just want to take the errors and move it to one extra request. Does that make sense? Like I want to hold the errors in the redirect. When I get here, I still want to have access to the errors. So there is something called the flash hash. And what it will do is it will store data for one extra request, which sounds like exactly what we want to do. So instead of @errors, I can do flash, which is a normal hash, put it at a key of anything I want. It's just a normal hash. So here it makes sense to do something like errors. So now when I redirect to the new issues path and I render this like new, what I want to do is I want to be able to, all right. Do I have @errors still? Yo, I'm not gonna make it. Do you mind grabbing my charger? Do you mind just grabbing me a charger? I'm not gonna make it, I'm sorry. Yeah, the battery's just like going terrible. Cool. I have flash errors instead of @errors. So I can get rid of it and put flash at a key of errors. And then I can do the same thing here. Flash at a key of errors. And so now, if I refresh, everything should still work. Thank you. But if I hit create issue, thanks. it just taking that long? Yeah, there it goes. It just took really long for some reason.
Wait, it's not.
It's not charging. Mm-mm. Weird.
Why is it not charging?
Cool beans.
None of them are working. Try the other side.
That's weird.
One trying to does that look sir?
Hmm?
Try a different outlet.
So which one is that? That one? Here we go. I don't know.
Plug it in.
It doesn't plug in.
That one's plugged in, yeah. They're both plugged in.
I think they charge both.
But two chargers can't. That'd be kind of crazy.
I'm just trying to double my power, you know? Double mint.
Yeah, can that? Why is it not working?
I don't know. But I'm going to try to just wrap up and finish this as fast as I can. Cool. So remember, the flash hash allows me to persist data for one extra request. That's why when I used flash hash, right, flash had a key of errors, I was able to get these error messages to display because when it did the redirect, then I did the get to new, the new request, it still had access to it. So that means that if I just click refresh right now, should I still see the errors?
No.
Because the answer is no. Because if I refresh, that is one more request. And therefore I lose the data from the flash hash. So if I were to hit refresh, you should see those errors go away. Cool? So there's a difference between a redirect and a render.
So if you had the errors and you hit create issue again, that one form, would you get the errors again?
Yes, if I hit create, I'll get the errors again. So who feels comfortable about the difference between render and redirect? Redirect gives you a new get request. All right, God bless you. Render does not give you a new request. It simply serves up the HTML as is at that moment with the instance variables that it currently has access to at that time because of Ruby's scope. So the preference for me is I'd rather do the flash because watch this URL here, right? If I were to go back to @errors equals to issue.errors.full messages, and then I simply rendered, right, the issue form eat. I regret that now. Okay, right, and then I changed this back, right, to @errors. I change this back to @errors. This will in fact work, right? So if I refresh and I hit create issue, it will work when it wants to, anytime. All right, just kidding. That's right. I also need this. That doesn't seem very dry to me because I'm basically like recreating a lot of it. And you'll see them there. The problem with it is the form submits and it's a render, not a redirect. So let's take a look really closely right here at the URL. When I submit, because it is not a redirect, it changes to the path of the form. It changes to the post to /issues. So you lose that. Are there any questions on render, redirect, using the instance variable, and flash?
That would just mess up your quote-unquote index or issue.
It doesn't really, but if I hit refresh, it'll just go to the index page. As opposed to what a user would expect and that is to see the form again. Because how confusing is that? Right? Imagine I'm on like the sign up page and I hit refresh and all of a sudden I saw a different page. The user has no idea why that's happening, and that would be like, oh, this app sucks. This website's terrible. Right? And that would be a bad user experience, 1 star. Right? So that's kind of why I prefer the redirect, because the redirect will give me a brand new GET request to issues new, and that's why the URL will remain the same. Yeah.
In the lab, we were dealing with the before action, and couldn't that dry out the code and we could still do it that way?
You could.
Is that like not best practice though?
I'll address the before action refactor and another refactor. So a couple things I want to touch on. I actually want to do the link to button 2. My computer is charging now. Thank you to all the technical assistants. I'll talk about link to button 2. I'll talk about this like form refactor, and then I'll talk about before action. So before I move to that, any questions on the instance variable with the render and then the flash hash with the redirect?
For the flash hash, I feel like it isn't necessarily the same purpose as a class variable because you're jumping between 2 methods.
I can see where you're going with that, and the answer is no, because flash is just persisting for 1 extra request, but if I set something to like a class variable, it will always be there. And so like, you know, I don't always want it to be there, I just want it to hold for like 1.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yeah.
But that's a good question.
Is Flash built in and is it?
Yes, Flash is a good question. Flash is in fact built in. It is a reserved keyword and is available globally within your application. Right? And you can see that because it's available both in the controller. Let's do this. Let's bring that back and let's get rid of this. It's available both in the controller and inside the view. Yeah? So something else is you can literally drop a buy bug right here if you wanted to. You guys know that? So like if I were to go to issues/new, okay, that was weird.
That happens to me all the time.
Why isn't buy bug working? Oh, that's because I'm not actually hitting this. You're right. Let me bloop. Cool. There we go. And you'll start to see that it's in fact hanging. So I can see what is in Flash right now. It's kind of empty. It's just a regular old hash that you can add key. Like I can add Flash at a key of like dolphin if I wanted to. And that's going to be swimming. Cool. What is Flash now? Boom. And the Flash only persists 1.
So if you call Flash again now, it's no longer persistent.
Well, Flash will be,
In this, because you're in the buy.
yeah, I'm in the buy bug. But if I refreshed and I go Flash, it should still be there, but anything that I add through the controller will persist for 1. I hard-coded the value in here, so it'll just hold, which is bad. Okay. So you can buy bug right in the middle of a view, and you can buy obviously here. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to go back to like the link to, the button to, and all that other stuff. Yep. Oh, you heard that? Getting old. All right. So the initial thing we wanted to do is we wanted to check out that index page, all right? And what we wanted to do was, we don't really need that too much. What we wanted to do was literally add a link to. The first argument for a link to is going to be what displays. So, yeah, the text, right? This is the text. So let's go back to the issues index. This is the text, right? I can obviously interpolate and use like issue.description, and there it goes. The first argument is what displays. The second argument is where will this go? I can make it all go to /google.com if I wanted to. If I refresh, and we take a look at, let me do this, all right? So you're gonna look at the bottom left corner here, and you'll see they'll all go to /Google. I can then just change that to, what's the second argument? Issue dot, sorry, it needs to be /issue / and then I'm gonna interpolate the issue dot ID. So here, if I refresh, it should go to /1, /2, /3. And that's gonna bring them to the show page. But if I wanted the show page, without all this like hard-coded nonsense, is there something that I can write instead?
Yes.
Issue path. But I need to know which issue, right? Cool. And if I refresh, it'll be the same. /1, /2, /3, /4. Questions on link to?
Within this one statement, could you have like a secondary option, like if this fails, go to? Like if you were to click on HW and for some reason that failed, in that line, could you have like a second option? Or is that just a different idea?
No, the link to will just build you the A tag. Like if I were to like click on this, you'll see it. It's just going to build me the href tag. It's going to display what it displays, and then this is the link it's doing. So link to is a builder, and it builds the anchor tag, and it takes in the path as the href, and it takes in this first argument as what displays. So far, so good. So like if you really wanted to boil down to it, link to will double equal, right, like an A tag. And then the first argument, right, the first arg is going to be the href equals to, sorry. And this is going to be the first argument. Cool? It's just a builder. It's just building this A tag for you. But it's nice because look how easy this reads. For each of these issues, I'm going to build a little link to it. Wow. Great naming. Are there any questions on like link to? Button to will do the same thing. Button to works in the same way, except instead of an A tag, what will it build for you? That's right, a form. Right, very good. And I say that because that's exactly what it does. It builds a form. There's like a little sneaky authenticity token, and it just submits, but it will go to the same route. The problem is, what do forms do? Is there a route post to /issues1?
Yeah.
No. So you can hard code that bad boy. Method, and is going to be, I'm sorry, I think it's like method at a key of like get. Bloop. Yeah. If I refresh, okay, didn't like that.
We have points to.
There it is. So now that'll actually like run. Bloop. Cool. Link to, same thing, right? You want to get like dirty, nasty, and hacky. Ready? Link to. Let's do a patch for fun. Ready? If I go back, look at this. Link to. Ready? And if I click it, is there a route patch to? Cool. Any questions on link to and button to? It's pretty good, right? Pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh yeah. Bless up to Lord Gaines. Cool.
That's a high five.
Wow.
Is it?
Are you sure? No,
Yeah.
it's not.
It literally says.
It's the cups. It's like secondary friend at the same
Yeah? Let's find out. Ready?
It's fair.
High five. Okay. Let's check this out. Oh. Anyways, not important. Done, right? Let's watch.
My dad,
Let's check out this form partial refactor. Cool. In my issues, right, we have seen the edit action, and it looks pretty similar to this. I'm sorry, looks pretty similar to this. Right? Except this one is going to be like .find with the params at a key of ID. I'm going to add edit to this. And so here, this is going to render edit. Let's take a look at these issues. And what do we have here? We have this form. All right? We actually have all of this. It's the same. You've seen this, right? Cool. So far, so good? If I were to actually see issues 2, edit, what should I see? Same thing. You saw how I just copied and pasted that? Because I want the errors to display. If I were to try to change that to, what are we not allowing again? Okay, what's wrong here? No route matches pat. Okay, right, that makes sense. Why did that make sense? I don't have the update action, right? And I don't have the update in my resources. So the idea here is that the edit and the new can be exactly the same because we understand how form 4 is working, right? It's calling @issue dot description, @issue dot severity, and that's how it's interpolating. So what we can do is just here, let's call that underscore form. Underscore is indicating that it's going to be a partial, and I'll explain what that means. I can take the edit and go, take this in my form, one place, one time. My edit, I can render that looking like a Ruby form. I can refresh, it should be good to go. I can then take this and go, Actually, I think it'll take the symbol too. Could be wrong, but let's find out. No, I didn't like it. So this is what is known as a partial. The underscore indicates that this is going to be reused in another ERB somewhere. And all I have to do is render it. Are there any questions on this like form refactor and how we did that? Cool. So now the next thing I want to show you. All right, cool. Form partial refactor, good?
This one doesn't matter, right? The fact that it's under the issues folder doesn't.
It does matter. Like if I was under teens, I can't call it directly. I'll have to go up and then into issues and then find form. So, good question.
You have it out of it.
Huh?
You have it out of it and then access into those ones like option.
Yeah, with the issues and
Okay, your question's good? All right, so the next thing I want to show you is this before action refactor. And that is, I'm calling this .find, and guess what I would probably else need? What's the first thing in here? Okay, and then what about what's the first line in here? Cool. What I can do is I can create a method, right? This is called find issue. You can name it anything you want, and I can just go bloop. So can't I just do this then? Can't I invoke that here, and here, and here? Cool. So each one of these actions, I need to invoke this method. before each one of these actions, I want to invoke this method, but only on the show and the edit and the update and the destroy. Very good. So I actually don't need this because it's going to invoke that method before each one of those.
You can take
Do
it
you have to
before.
call the method too? Or
No.
you just get rid of the method itself?
The before action will invoke this method before these 4 actions. So that means that when my route says I need show,
Right.
it will invoke find issue and then enter show.
Oh, I see. So if that was something in your show method, you need to call it that as a method, or?
No, inside my show I don't need to invoke it because right before I hit show, this will get invoked.
Wouldn't it be invoking it in the scope of show, so it would be like the first line of show? Or how does that work?
You could think of it as the first line of show or the first line of update, edit, or destroy. Are there any questions on this before action refactor and how we made it there? Cool. Lecture's getting on really long. I can see that your energy is extremely high and I want to taper that down. Yeah, it's all right. We hit that point, but we did cover this. You feel better about Rails in general and in the generators, and so if there's no other questions, we can always talk offline. That's all I got for you. Yeah, what's up?
I was just wondering, you mentioned JavaScript validations, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that's kind of like supplemental to the back-end validations that we're learning today, or if it's only front-end, or if it'll just completely replace
It will not replace it whatsoever. It will be supplemental, and you will learn it in Mod 3.
Okay, would it be more front-end, or is it both?
JavaScript is entirely going to be your front end as we teach it here in Mod 3. You will learn more about JavaScript as a front end and back end, probably outside this program.
Okay, that answers it.
Good deal.
Will Rails ever let you know if you accidentally create 2 contradictory validation statements?
No. The question is like, will Ruby know if you create contradictory statements? It won't, but if you test, you will realize that you cannot create it either way, and it will always break, and then you'll be like, what the? And then you'll have to dig into it yourself. Awesome, great. Thanks so much for your time.